The shrill ring of your alarm clock tore through the silence of the early morning. Groaning, you blindly slapped by the nightstand until your fingers finally hit the button, silencing the noise. For a moment, you just sat there on the edge of your bed, eyes shut, fingers digging silently into your scalp as if massaging away both sleep and stress. That's when it struck the sudden sharp twist in your lower abdomen. You let out a soft, pained groan, one hand instinctively clutching your stomach. Oh no, don't tell me. You forced your eyes open, reached for your phone, and checked the calendar. Your suspicion was confirmed, and you sighed in defeat. Perfect timing, uterus just perfect. Quickly, you rushed into the bathroom. The first thing you did was glance down at your night dress, your favorite white one, delicate and soft like a cloud. Relief washed over you when you saw it was spotless. You grabbed the hem dramatically, holding it up as though addressing a cherished friend. Thank God, my darling, you survived. You almost faced an early grave in the laundry basket. Imagine the betrayal stain at dawn. I would have no choice but to banish you forever. Because honestly, who is the word is going to scrub you clean at 6 in the morning? Not me, sweetheart. Definitely not me. You chuckle to yourself at your own theatrics, shaking your head before quickly taking care of business. After putting on a pad and washing your hands, you stepped out of the bathroom only to catch sight of your reflection. Your hair was a disaster. Wild tangles sticking up in directions that defied gravity. You squinted at yourself, lips curling in mock disgust. Wow, breathtaking. Truly, Vogue should be calling me any second now. You dragged your tired body back toward the bed, moving like a wounded soldier, and collapsed onto the mattress with a dramatic bounce. The softness swallowed you whole, and you closed your eyes, already tempted to sink back into sleep. But then a thought slammed into your head, and your eyes flew open. Crap, I didn't check him today. You shot upright, nearly tripping over your blanket, and stumbled across the room to the window. With one swift motion, you yanked the curtains aside. And froze. The house next door stood quiet in the pale morning light. His house, Jungkook's house. Your eyes darted instantly to the familiar balcony window. It was always open in the mornings, always letting in the fresh air, but today it was closed, firmly shut, curtains drawn tight. You pressed your forehead lightly against the glass, frowning. That's odd. He never leaves it closed. A flicker of unease twisted in your chest. Was he alright? You hated that you even cared. John Jungkook, the cold, infuriating neighbor who treated you like an annoyance more than a person. His words, when he spared them, were curt and sharp. His gaze often unreadable and distant. And yet somehow you had fallen for him against every ounce of your better judgment. Your mind betrayed you, dragging you back to that evening last month. He had shown up at your door without a word, his expression as impassive as ever, and before you could even ask why, he had gripped your wrist and pulled you across the street to his house. His grandmother had come to stay, and clearly he was hopeless when it came to cooking. He never asked directly. Chungu was not the kind of man who asked. He simply expected. Still, you had cooked for them, filling his house with smells of warmth and life that seemed almost alien in those cold walls. His grandmother had adored you instantly, her frail hand squeezing yours as she insisted you stay for dinner. You must join us, dear. A meal shared is always better. You had smiled shyly, nodding. But Jungkook, he had remained silent for most of the meal, sitting across from you, his sharp eyes lifting every so often to study you. He had barely spoken, yet each glance felt heavy, as if he were mirroring something about you he had never revealed. Now, staring at the tightly shut balcony door, a heaviness settled over you. Is he sick or no? Maybe he just overslept. He's human too, right? Still, your heart wouldn't quite. You lingered for another minute before checking the time on your phone. Your stomach dropped. Damn it, I'm late. You whirled around, scrambling to get ready. Clothes were pulled on in a hurry, hair tied into a quick, messy ponytail. You tossed your essentials into your bag while muttering under your breath. Great. Period pain, messy hair, late for college. What an award winning morning. You slipped on your shoes, glancing one last time at his silent house through the window before rushing out the door. The day at college passed in a blur, even surrounded by chatter and laughter. Your mind kept drifting back to that closed window next door. No matter how many times you scolded yourself for caring, the unease sat heavy in your chest. By the time you returned home in the late afternoon, your steps slowed almost instinctively when your eyes lifted toward Jungkook's house. The balcony window was still closed, the front door too eerily silent. You stood frozen at the gate, teeth worrying your lower lip. Should I check one time? What if he's fine and I look like a fool? But what if he's not? With a deep breath, you forced your legs to move and climbed the steps to his front porch. Your knuckles rapped against the wooden door, the sound echoing faintly through the still house. Nothing. You knocked again, more firmly this time. Minutes dragged by almost 5 long, heavy minutes before the door creaked open. Chungkook stood there, his tall frame leaning against the doorframe as though even standing was a burden. His dark eyes, usually sharp and watchful, were half closed, unfocused. His hair, normally styled with effortless precision, was messy, falling over his forehead. Your chest tightened. Hey, what happened? Are you. Before you could finish, his body gave way. He collapsed forward, and you barely had time to catch him. His weight almost knocked you down. But you wrapped your arms around him, hugging him tightly to steady both him and yourself. The moment your plans pressed against his bare back, you flinched. His skin burned under your touch. Oh my god, you are burning up, Jungkook. You have a high fever. Panic laced your voice, but you forced yourself to move quickly, hooking your arm under his. You dragged his heavy body inside. He was shirtless, only wearing loose shorts. His usually sculpted chest now rising and falling in uneven braids. You half carried, half pulled him onto the couch, your own muscles aching from the effort. For God's sake, you're heavy. Don't you dare die on me right now. Dropping your bag, you immediately grabbed your phone and called the doctor. I'm sorry, I can't make house calls right now, but I will guide you. What's his condition? He's burning up, sweating, barely conscious. Wait, give me a second. You searched frantically through drawers until you finally found a dusty first aid kit. Pulling out the thermometer, you pressed it gently against his lips. His face twisted faintly, but he didn't resist. The numbers blinked, confirming your fear his fever was dangerously high. Doctor, it's over 103. Alright, listen carefully. Soak a towel in cold water, place it on his forehead and under his arms to reduce the temperature. Then give him paracetamol. He should rest, but keep monitoring him. If he spikes again, take him to the hospital immediately. You nodded, even though he couldn't see you. Got it. Thank you. Once the call ended, you hurried to fetch a bowl of water and a towel. Kneeling beside the couch, you wrung it out and gently placed it across his burning forehead. His eyes fluttered briefly, lips parting as he muttered something incoherent. His voice, usually deep and commanding, was now weak and broken like a child's. You swallowed hard, adjusting the pillow under his head. Rest, you idiot. Don't act like you are invincible. Leaving him for a moment, you darted into the kitchen. The silence of the house unnerved you, but you pushed it aside, grabbing rice and vegetables. You set porridge to simmer on low heat, letting the soft bubbles rise, but just as you leaned against the counter, pain stabbed low in your abdomen. Your knees buckled slightly and you clutched your stomach, biting back a groan. Of course, my first day of periods had to be today. Perfect, just perfect. You pressed your palm against the counter, breathing through the cramps. Your body screamed for rest. But there was no time. With gritted teeth, you pushed forward while the porridge simmered. You dashed to the nearby pharmacy, grabbing the medicines the doctor mentioned. You even slipped painkillers into your bag for yourself because honestly, if you didn't take something soon, you would collapse next to Jungkook. By the time you returned, sweat clung to your forehead. You forced yourself back into the kitchen, stirring the porridge until it softened to a thick, warm consistency. Carrying the bowl to the living room, you set it down carefully before kneeling at his side again. You slipped an arm beneath his head, lifting him gently. Come on, tough guy, open your mouth just a little. He stirred faintly, his lips parting enough for you to feed him a few spoonfuls. Between sips of porridge, you managed to slip the medicine into his mouth, coaxing him to swallow with quiet patience. His head lolled weakly against your shoulder, and you exhaled softly. There, that wasn't so hard, was it? Once he was fed and covered with a blanket, you finally allowed yourself to breathe. Grabbing a second blanket for yourself, you trudged back into the kitchen. Ramen, that was all you could manage. Quick, simple, you barely had the energy to boil the noodles, your cramps gnawing at your lower stomach like cruel little knives. Finally, with the steaming bowl in hand, you collapsed onto the other couch, placing a heating pad against your abdomen. God, I deserve a medal for this. Cooking for a half dead mafia looking neighbor while my own uterus is trying to kill me. Pulling the blanket over yourself, you curled up on the couch. The warmth of the heating pad slowly dulled the pain, your eyelids growing heavier. Across from you, Jungkook lay asleep, chest rising and falling steadily, the fever slowly easing under your care. And somewhere between your exhaustion and the ache in your body, sleep claimed you too. Morning sunlight filtered faintly through the curtains, soft beams landing across the living room. Jungkook stirred, his lashes fluttering open as he exhaled a low breath. His head throbbed dully, but the suffocating heat in his body from last night had lessened. Blinking slowly, he sat up, the blanket slipping from his bare torso. His eyes roamed the room, and that's when he saw you. You were curled on the other couch, still wrapping in your blanket, your head resting against the armrest. Your breathing was steady, lips parted even so slightly in sleep. For a moment, Jungkook just stared, something unreadable flickering in his eyes. Bits of hazy memory drifted back, your voice coaxing him to swallow porridge, the cool shower pressed against his burning forehead, the sound of your footsteps rushing through the house. His gaze softened, but only for a second. With a quiet sigh, he pushed the blanket aside and swung his legs to the floor. That's when his eyes caught something near your couch. A heating pad, long since cooled, laying abandoned on the rug. Jungkook frowned, stooping to pick it up. Periods. The thought lingered as he glanced back at you, still curled up. Shifting slightly in your sleep, without another word, he padded quietly to the kitchen. He wasn't used to this caring for someone else, yet his hands moved almost instinctively. He warmed milk, whisking in a little cocoa and honey, even grating dark chocolate and cinnamon to balance the sweetness. He remembered hearing somewhere that it helped with cravings and cramps. While the milk simmered, he refilled the heating pad with hot water, pressing it against his palm to make sure it wasn't too warm. A few minutes later, he returned to the living room, Setting the steaming mug carefully on the table, he crouched down beside your couch, his voice low but firm. Wake up. You stirred, lashes flickering as you open your eyes for a moment. Disoriented, you blinked at him. The side of Chungo crouched in front of you, shirtless, his gaze piercing and unreadable. Hey, you are awake. Are you okay? You sat up quickly, reaching out without thinking, pressing your palm against his forehead to check. His skin was cooler now, no longer burning. Oh, thank God you are better. Relief softened your features as you pulled your hand back. You made to sit down again, but the sudden twist of pain in your abdomen made your wince. Your body tensing, his eyes caught it instantly. Without a word, he extended the reheated pad toward you. Here, put this. You froze, blinking at him in surprise. Thanks, but wait, how do you even know? He didn't answer immediately, just tilted his head slightly, gaze steady as always. I noticed more than you think. You stared at him for a second, warmth creeping into your cheeks. He reached for the mug on the table and placed it in your hands. Drink this, it will help. You glanced down, inhaling the sweet, rich scent, hot chocolate, smooth and creamy, just the right balance. You took a sip, eyes widening. This is so good. I didn't know you could make something this comforting. Jungkook's brow arched slightly. Something this what? Nothing just Goldie. He narrowed his eyes. Goldie? You laughed softly, sipping again to cover your embarrassment. Forget it, it's really good. Thank you. For a while, silence lingered between you. Only the faint ticking of the clock filled the air. Jungkook leaned back against the couch, his eyes fixed on you in that unreadable way, as though peeling back every layer of you without speaking a word. Finally, you broke the silence. Jungkook, about yesterday, he shifted slightly but didn't speak, waiting. I just wanted to say I like you. I know you are cold. I know you keep walls around you, but I can't help it. Your voice trembled faintly at the edges, though your eyes held steady on his. His lips parted as though to reply, but instead he let silence stretch. His face was unreadable again, gaze fixed on yours. You sighed softly, lowering your eyes. Forget I said anything. But then, just as you looked away, his lips curved, the faintest ghost of a smile tugging at the corners. I need time. He looked up, startled. I don't do this. Feelings, but somehow you have gotten under my skin. Your breath caught for the first time. His eyes softened, not entirely, not completely, but enough to send a warmth racing through you. Jungkook leaned back again, cold mask slipping back into place almost instantly, though the smile had not fully disappeared. So, don't push me, but okay. It wasn't a confession in full, but it was enough. And as you sip the last of the hot chocolate, warmth spread not just through your body, but through your heart too.